Our garden's called A Breath of Fresh Air because it represents a programme that we're carrying out internally within Abbeyfield, and the thinking behind it is the importance really of getting people outside. A lot of people with dementia don't get outside at all. In fact, less than 1 in 10 people get outside more than once a month. We didn't want to have people just sitting indoors looking at the outside. We wanted to open the doors and enable people to enjoy things that they always used to do outside. We found some brilliant results, particularly for people who have dementia. People who spend a bit more time outside are actually being able to sleep better, their appetites have increased, and actually the number of falls has reduced as well. So it's really paying dividends, and of course it's something that people really, really enjoy.
My brief from April was to create a welcoming, calming space that would invite people outside, people who are having a very sedentary life and probably indoors a lot of the time, most of whom are living with dementia. People that live with dementia find it quite anxiety provoking to walk down a path and come to a dead end or a bend in the path. A looping path is very, very useful because then they can just wander and feel safe and there's no kind of end to the path. As cognitive function ceases or begins to recede, the sensory side of a person becomes stronger, and people that perhaps can't remember much will still have a very emotional response to something like a smell or a texture. And plants are particularly good at stimulating that kind of emotional response in a positive way. We're talking about breathing, we're talking about being outside, and that I wanted to have that feeling of continuous flow running through the space. So with elements like the water bowl, which is a sensory element, that represents continuous flow because it's a brimming bowl. The Mobius sculpture is very important because a Mobius is a shape which has a continuous surface. So they both represent that continuous flow idea.
We are going to be the recipients of the Breath of Fresh Air garden. We were able to facilitate this garden because we were left a large legacy by Mrs. Joan Miller, who was a resident with us for some 11 years. I think the whole idea of having a garden like this back at the home will give such quality of life to the residents, both those with dementia and cognitively able. It's very tactile, the smell is beautiful. The water feature, fantastic. I think people who have a dementia suffer from time to time with traumas. So as a consequence of that, we would have somebody who's perhaps stressed. We could take them outside in the garden, watch the wildlife, touch the flowers, and that trauma will disappear and be forgotten, which has to aid the quality of people's lives.
It's delightful, and the fact that it goes down there at the edge is inviting because you don't feel excluded from it. It's lovely, beautifully done.
It's a super place to be, very well looked after. And this is an added excitement for us. We're going to have this lovely garden, which we're looking to have in our garden, and we shall use it a lot.
I think the garden will encourage people who are at the moment happy indoors to come out in this lovely weather.
I'm Lynn Kay. My mother was here some years ago as a resident. Her name was Phyllis Eels, and she did sit in the garden here. She had a room just at the far end where the new part of the new garden's going to be, and she did enjoy going in the garden. I think the Abbeyfield Breath of Fresh Air garden is a wonderful idea. It's a great way of celebrating 60 years of Abbeyfield, and I'm sure the residents here in Victoria House will love it and love being able to sit out in it and appreciate it right through the year.
We've brought 3 residents here today, and the mere joy on their faces will reap rewards for many, many, many years to come and for many people. So this is Joan Miller's legacy, which will live on in Victoria House forever.